This is Umar for BoxNation. I'm joined by Joe Saunders. Billy, Chris has just missed weight by 2 ounces. Just get your initial reaction to that, Billy.
Well, I had a talk yesterday about, about the pain, what's pain and what's not pain, and professionalism. He's never, I've never missed weight in my life. It's the first time he's missed weight, so obviously, clearly, it was a lot of pain, and it shows that he's struggling because, I don't know what the contract was within how much weight you miss by and the sum you got to pay. If he'd missed it by £3-4, then clearly he's done it for a reason. But, he's tried to actually get down to that weight, and I think that psychologically, that's got to be very good for Ben.
Well, it's $500,000 he's had to pay for that.
Yeah, not going to be... Look, it is what it is, but he's tried his best, and clearly it was just too much to cut.
Yeah. So...
listen, it's one of those things, when you're struggling for weight, mate, you're struggling for weight, and clearly, he's clearly struggling.
Have you ever thought in your situation, if you're struggling, that I'll just do it and miss the weight?
There's not one time, and listen, I'm known for going up, down in weight. I've never missed weight in any of my fights. And it's always been a factor where weight has killed me to make, but I've always made it. And when I was 11 stone 6, I've always been professional enough to know on the scales taught by Jimmy Tibbs, it's an embarrassment if you don't make weight. It just don't show 100% commitment. And to miss it how he's missed it, 0.2 I hear, that's nothing. You should be going for enough pain barrier to hit that 0.2 for himself and for his own mind. So everything he said about his own psychological mind, what he's doing it for, making weight, is clearly a load of rubbish. So he's not psychologically, mentally strong at the moment.
Billy, I'm sure you've seen Senior's comments in the last couple of weeks where, of course, he won't be in attendance, but further to that, he's called his son a disgrace and he just believes the fight shouldn't happen. What's your thoughts on that?
Look, Senior's been for a lot at the moment. That's the last thing a father should ever do is bury their kid. I'm not really going to have me comment on his thoughts and his mindset at the moment, but it's times like that, I suppose, that Chris can go back to his family and take away the pain, I suppose. Well, not take away the pain, but make things a little bit easier than others in the family. Chris Senior really dealing with this sort of tragedy in his own way, and that's down to him, how he wants to approach it. And, with his son, I think that he feels a bit left out in a way. A son should be wrapping their arms around their father at that sort of thing and making him feel the best dad in the world. And, I'm not rubbing that into Chris's wounds because the family's been through a lot in that aspect. But the man needs help, and, he shouldn't be looking for help when he's got a son there. He's there to take over that role, the same as obviously myself, but people's brought up a bit differently and have different views about it. Funny enough, I had a conversation with Eubank's brother the other day in a hotel, staying in the same hotel as the Eubanks. A friendly conversation with the brother, to be fair, and, he was getting on the subject about his father and son relationship, and what I'm hearing is not particularly great. But look, that's the mindset of a man to, put aside what his father's thinking about them. Okay, you might have a different way of showing love, but, you need to man up here and, your father brought you into this world. So have a bit of respect for the man. So I've got nothing to say about his comments because, I don't think his mind's, in a great place.
Yeah, fair enough, Billy. Right, has Conor Benn definitely requested for you to inspect Junior's hand wraps tomorrow? Is that correct?
I spoke to Conor Benn earlier on also, spoke to his management. Yep, and that is something that I will be doing. He's asked me to do it. So I will be walking in the Eubanks dressing room and inspecting that and making sure there's no cheating and no stacking going on. I'm good mates with Conor. We got on very well. and just make sure that the fight is as fair as possibly can be. Because when I boxed him, I know that they were stacking involved, and we identified that. But people who, if you're not at a certain level and you've not seen these sort of cricks and cracks before, that does happen. And as we see, plenty of injuries has happened in the past. Has he got away with that before? And trying to keep the sport as fair as we can.
You going for a Conor Benn stoppage tomorrow?
I'm going for a Conor Benn knockout now out of the weight issue, yeah.
Billy, just to close off, are we any closer to seeing Lewis Edmondson and Ezra Taylor?
There's ongoing talks at the moment with me and Frank Warren. I met him the other day about myself and Louis and a couple of other fighters we got. And at the moment now, Ezra's got a fight, so if he comes through that unscathed and uninjured, most definitely that fight will be going ahead.
Okay, good to hear. Last one as well. Joe Cooper's obviously with Frank Warren as well, your relative.
Yep.
How do you think he's getting on?
I think Joe Cooper's a force to be recognised with. As they say, Umar, it's not in the feeding, it's in the breeding. And, as a young kid, he was knocking people out. And as the pros, he's under Joe Gallagher there. He's doing a great job of him. The team's doing a great job bringing him through. I think he's going to be, if not better than myself. At that age there, I don't think that I could have laced his boots up.
Really?
So, I'm expecting... Well, listen, I've seen him do a lot of good things. I've heard a lot about him in the gym, how he's sparring and how he's handling certain people at a certain level, which he shouldn't really be doing at that age, and he's doing it with ease. So, my money's on him to be world champion all of the way.
Okay. Listen, Billy, appreciate that quick call. I will see you tomorrow at Tottenham Hotspur.
See you then, guys.
Top man, Billy Joe. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Queensbury,
the biggest fights
and the biggest nights.
Home of champions.
Home of knockouts.
There's no way back from this!
The home of the future.
And this is it!
The global home of boxing.
Queensbury, exclusively on design.